Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of The Wedding Show. Remember, it's your ultimate guide to everything wedding. My name is Ruth Agbejule and this episode happened to be the last for the season. All through the season, we have been looking at wedding and a wedding. So being the last edition, we thought to have a twerk. And today we'll be looking at the secret to a lasting marriage. Remember, wedding is just for a day, but marriage is for a lifetime. So that is why we want to have this conversation today. And to discuss this, I already have my guest in the studio. He's a media manager, former editor, This Day newspaper, former deputy managing director, The Sun, MD of Nigerian Express newspaper, and executive member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Here's Mr. Steve Onwosu. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Nice to be here, Ruth. Thanks. Glad to be here.
I'll tell you why our guest is fit for this topic. It's interesting to know that he's been married for more than 2 decades and still counting. Can you beat that? So how has marriage been for 2 decades and counting? That is 20 years plus. Okay.
Well, it's been ups and downs. There's no bed of roses. It's not easy, but it can be enjoyable. I had a friend who an old couple, when they were always fighting, but somewhere along the line the man just died, and while the woman was crying, she sat in front of the house and said, "Now I will follow quarrel tomorrow on that."
Oh.
So even that quarrel that you have is part of the spice of it. So it's been fun. So it's not, don't let anybody tell you that we've never quarreled, we'll quarrel, we settle. The only thing I have not done, I've never raised a hand against nobody, my wife. So it's never, so that's one, and it's been that way.
I would want you to repeat that part, because that is part of the problems of some of the marriages in this country, or in fact not just in this country. That is domestic violence. Please, I want you to repeat that. For 20-something years you have not what?
I've not laid a hand on her.
That is possible. You, I mean, the I don't even know the word I would use to describe that.
But it's nothing.
It is beautiful to know that we still have men who haven't raised or lifted their hands, for once, to even hit their wives.
You should have asked me if my wife is stronger than me, whether she's not the one that will beat me if I raise my hand. But then the truth is that you really have there's really not, even to beat anybody. I can tell you too that actually, apart from my wife, I've not really beaten any of my children.
So have you been able to train them?
I talk to them. I don't talk too much. Marriage is between two. It's usually very good if you have two extremes. There was a lady I was supposed to marry. Out of no design, we ended up not married. One day, my elder sister told me that, do I know if I had married this lady that we would have had a problem? That we were almost alike in terms of, first of all, you people will be very broke, because the way you give things out, your wife is even worse. The lady to be was even more generous. So, and then I also knew she didn't have a sense of street. But I won't say street smartness. She's really not streetwise. So it's good if you have two different fire and water, Find a way and blend. If you're all fire, one day you set house on fire. If you're water, somebody will take all of you for a ride one day. But then that's it.
So between you and your wife, which one are you? Are you the fire or the water?
I don't know if she'll beat me. But I think I'm closer to the water.
Okay.
She has the fire.
Oh.
Things I won't do, she will do. My wife is Yoruba, by the way. So it's the point that I will tell you, there's a Yoruba joke, the proverb saying that Dada Olija.
What does that mean?
But Subola bro to the Baja. Dada can't fight.
Okay.
But he has a younger one that will fight for him. So it means even sometimes when you take me for, you say me like that Nigerian language that I'm mum.
Okay.
If my wife gets to here, she will follow you. She will get even with you.
Wow.
So that's the way it is. So sometimes she too doesn't actually beat the kids, but she will shout another. And me, because I don't talk so often. So once I say something, they know I'm serious about it. At the time, it used to be when daddy is angry, start speaking Igbo to us, knowing that they don't understand and sort of them. But the thing is, somehow you can talk to your children and still they come out good without, you don't have to keep beating and beating and beating. Yeah.
Oh, I want to say in fact, some people at this point will say you're not a true African parent because a true African parent, be it the father or the mother, will beat a child to correct that child.
And then I got 2 boys, 2 girls. So why should I would, is it my daughter that I would be beating her? It doesn't, there's nothing you can settle with the fists that a word or two can't settle. Absolutely not. And I grew up with an uncle who used to tell me something. He had a wife that was also, once, even as a kid, I know that with some other men will be beating that lady every day. But you know one thing he told me, just joking, he said, put your hand in a pocket, fold it into a fist. If you're angry, don't release the fist. Before you pull it out, you will take some time, and then that will give you a few seconds to have a rethink of what you want to do and all this. But you might not. But then, if you're hot-tempered, but I don't think I'm really hot-tempered. So.
Okay, so 20 years down the line and counting, have you been able to keep romance?
I think there's no textbook about it. And there's this thing people say about, sorry, I don't know what your topic is about, sex. You know, my wife and I could go 6 months.
Like back then or presently?
But of course, when you were young, you were crazy, you were trying things, the toilet in the kitchen and the bath of sofa and all this. But sometimes you get older, you suddenly discover that she has become your friend. She has ordinary, you're betting together, you tap, you understand all this kind of little plays. It might not really be the real intimate, but that you just keep it going. At a point, you know that marriage is about sacrifice. If what I want clashes with what my wife wants, somebody has to, like they say, somebody has to play the fool. If you listen to Millie Jackson say love is a dangerous game, somebody has to play the fool at any given time. You just play the fool. That's why in social media they tell you when you're right, the man, you keep quiet. When you're wrong, you apologize. But those little things, they might be at the extreme, but they make meaning. They make sense at some point or the other. But you just keep it. But at some point, you now discover that there is more to love life than maybe intimate, real copulation or something and all that. But the thing is that by the time you need it, you can just get tired, and just that hug they will give you. You want to sleep, you hug each other. You understand? You hold each other. That can we, of course, we still sleep on the same bed and all this kind of thing. There was a time we had separate bedrooms. It was not because of anything.
It was because of what?
We've did our house, had to her room and my room, but there was no door. It was just a corridor you walk through. You know, the wardrobe, that this type of design you have, you walk through a passage between the 2 rooms. On this side is a wardrobe all the way down, and there's no door dividing. There's no door, the 2 rooms. And you know the funny thing, we still ended up always sleeping Anytime you saw my wife going to snuggle on her bed, it's because maybe I've done something that she's angry with her mother. But beside that, all her bed is filled with clothes and boxes and all that.
So
So it's on my
come.
own bed that we sleep. And then we have, where we live now, we have this 3-in-1 wardrobe and a single wardrobe. The single wardrobe is filled with her clothes. The 3-in-1 wardrobe, I have a third of it. I had the other two filled with her clothes. And then that my thought, you see a few of her clothes hanging. So
Life of a woman.
so it's that's if it makes her happy. Sometimes I tell her, I look at her, my wife is crazy about shoes, perfumes and stuff like that. So I said, if my mother comes into our bedroom and sees a stack of shoes, it will disown me. We are talking of Imelda Marcos. Whatever. Do you know if we got that? I think Imelda Marcos was 1,000 pairs of shoes. How many they got now? But some things like that we quarrel, we abuse. You say, maybe I abuse. I say something to abuse her. She will say your family. I say you're part of the family.
Exactly.
So, but those are just.
Yeah.
And then she also has a little background in journalism, so she also has a very high sense of humor. So there's I can't take her unawares on anything. As I'm saying, she said that Yoruba said I cannot go home to go and bring the reply. I will give it to you there and then.
No.
So that's just that's the kind of but it's alright. So if you take romance beyond outside of sex, you discover that you can have a happy marriage. If sex happens, it happens like that. But you don't. It's not big. It's not like we plan it out. You put this perfume. You do this. You pop flowers on all those romantic things. Yeah, she is a romantic. But then there's ways you can get around it, and I'm on the other side. It's not like I care, but I'm not really a romantic.
Yeah, person. Women are usually the ones who carry all of those romance on their head.
The things that keep us going.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break and we'll be back, and stay with us. Welcome back to The Wedding Show, your ultimate guide to everything wedding. So I have a guest in the studio, and we have been looking at the secret to a lasting marriage. Remember, I said earlier that wedding is for a day, but marriage is for a lifetime. So that is why I have been speaking with my guest. So how do both of you manage your individual identities, yet still nurturing what you have over the past 20 years?
First of all, individual identities beginning with name. My wife just added, I first of all, I insisted on a compound name for her surname.
Okay,
so
why?
She can keep her identity and mine. You understand? So my wife assigns Steve Onwosu as surname. So at least wherever she was coming from, whatever she had achieved with that name remains. Then two is that whatever you do, she's my wife amongst two. I've had the chance of more chances of joining politics or going into politics, but I've turned everything down. My wife is the kind of person that can do that. You understand? And once there's another opportunity, I encourage her. It doesn't mean that I might not want to do it for me, but you do it. You don't have to do things because you like it. It's just because, it's just like when you are a giver, you don't give because you're expecting something in return. You give because your joy, what your benefit is, I give and I see that joy, that happy smile, and that comes from the face of the person that receives. You understand? So sometimes you make that sacrifice. If somebody wants it, it's not even a sacrifice no more. It becomes a way of life, that what she wants to do, you talk about it, say this, if there are like traps, pitfalls are there, you point them out and expect this, but this is it, let's go. Sometimes things she needs to do, if I need to go over it, she does a draft, I go. Sometimes she will just say, this is what I need to do. She will throw it at me. I will do the draft for her. You understand this kind? Then she will now look at it and add a few things, and I will take a final look. And all those are the things, because she has a journalism background. She is in the public service.
Okay.
So, and she's a public affairs, whatever, in the civil service. So they call it PRO, but in Lagos it's called public affairs, whatever they call themselves. So Isabel, she's good at speech writing. I don't like speech writing, but then when she does, I have to read through for whatever she has put down. All those kind. So that's the way. And there are things we have. Of course, the fight never ends. So there's always a fight. It's just make up your mind that we are in this for a long. At a point, even if you are angry, fed up, that's when people just bear it for some time, for sake of the kids, if they are kids. You understand? And before you know it, you forget what it was. Sometimes I get angry at something, then maybe when we forget, maybe sometimes remember, what was it that made me angry again? You start thinking about it because it's moved on. Yes, I keep abusing her, that from her part of the country they don't forgive easily, and but all those are jokes. When I say she abuses, she's from Obasanjo's clan. So all those kind of things, we talk about it, and it's okay. But then we just you tolerate. Is always like, if the need be at any given time, be ready. You don't have to. There's a poem that says the tiger does not have to announce his tigritude. That you are the man is not in contest. So you don't have to say, I'm the man of the house. I'm the man.
As a typical African man.
Nobody is contesting whether you are a man or not. You are a man, and you are the man. You are the husband. You are the man of the house. But the power is until you realize that manness of you is determined by how your wife, how well she compels to make you a man. It's not like you don't claim it, there's nothing. If your wife gives you the respect the man deserves, another, and then when there are bills to share, we don't. It was very, as we got older, that my children say, when I start looking for where's the money in my wallet, my children will laugh. I will say, ask mommy. It's mommy. It must be mommy.
Okay.
It's mommy that takes money from your wallet. You understand?
Okay.
So I can tell you something. I only have an idea of what my children's school fees. Sometimes I negotiate, then I have an idea. So, but anytime I have money, I just throw. This is for school fees. I just throw it at her. Maybe by the time school fees gets there, that money has gone for something else. Yes. But if she also has, she puts into. Sometimes when she wants to stress me, she will say she has not paid.
And you call that stress you?
Then,
it's not stressing.
Then I will somehow, because when she says you are owing me this, I say, if I finish paying you, that's the end of the relationship. Now I have to keep owing you.
You're using sense.
So all those kind of things. But the thing is that she borrows me money, I give her.
Okay, so that brings to my next question.
Yeah.
So can you share a defining moment as a couple in So Far So Good for the both of you? Have you ever experienced any challenging times, any defining moments that was maybe troubled times? Because it's never rosy.
It's always, considering that we are from different backgrounds. Igbo, she's Yoruba. So first of all, there will be some kind of a bit of pressure. Say, why are you going this way? Why are you going this way? But then my people have this belief that Yoruba women, they marry one wife, one husband. Say, you go born for this one, born for the other. But, God bless my mom. She's still alive, by the way. My mom is 84 now.
Oh.
She's the one, she just said, you know what? when everybody was kicking and saying, no, why you? He said that she had never seen me with an Igbo girl before. So she had made up her mind that she was not going to get an Igbo daughter-in-law from me. My mother just had basic primary education. But she said no. So even the ones that were educated and others were kicking, but no. But luckily for me, I had also, apart from a fleeting moment in the university, I had never dated an Igbo girl. Not planned, not anything. It just happened that way.
Okay.
So they were ready for it. But so that challenge initially it just came to nothing, because if you were going to accept Akwa Ibom, why not Yoruba? All those kind of things. So we just let it go. But the most challenging on 2 occasions, I luckily was the 4th one. The only child I was in the delivery room was my last child.
Okay.
He was 15 in February. I didn't want to put my wife through that again.
Oh.
Luckily, but then that was the only one I was there. Then she's had surgeries that I was watching. I've watched them open her up.
Oh dear.
And close her on 2 occasions. So
I
there's a way
that works.
It really got me, and even if you didn't love a woman, if you see her go through that, chances are that something will make you sort of pedal a bit. So that was just it.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier that you have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah.
So if your daughter or your daughters come to you tomorrow and say they want to get married, but they don't want the traditional marriage as we call it here, what would be your reaction?
I didn't do a church wedding.
A church wedding. Why didn't you do a church wedding?
They were, apart from, although my wife is still calling me that we have to go and do church wedding.
Yes.
I did the traditional wedding, which in the African society is, once you've done what they call Igbanku or in Igbo, or does the Yoruba wedding, once that was where wedding ended. Unfortunately, our laws have not been able to inculcate our traditional marriages, so there are no certificates given for that. So you're married and everything, but if you go to a visa and say we are husband and wife, what's the proof? You bring photo? No, there has to be a certificate. So we had to go sign the registry. And after that, I said, I've done enough for one marriage. So I said I wasn't going to do it. And then the church people, they will say you have to be a communicant, you have to be a this. By the time, the things they will list for you, even native doctor won't ask for that long list. So at the point, I just said no. But she's still on my case.
But are you going to be okay with your daughters? She just comes and says, Dad, you know what, I want to get married, but I don't want traditional marriage. All I want is just white wedding perhaps and court.
The world is changing.
You'll be okay with that?
I'm not finicky about all this thing, but it's just that I want a responsible guy. I took my time. Most of I have a friend who used to call, we look at my children and my wife, he say, hey, summation of our income and expenditure. Because I will go everywhere, make them comfortable. I don't want my daughter waking up tomorrow and somebody will say, I will take you to Dubai. Let's go. And it gets into her head that she's going to travel. You understand? So from age, as little, whenever I can afford, I take them. All those trips everywhere, whether US, UK, they have their. In fact, the last time we went for visa, they looked at it and said it's like the children travel more than the adults. Me, I'm not. I like traveling, but what I hate is that process of going to sit down for visa and all those. That it irritates me. So once it gets there, I will just fund and just relax. And then on several occasions, we want to do family trip. Job demand comes, and I say, "You guys go," and I'll sit back. So as old as I am now, I've not gone to Dubai. Meanwhile, my crowd have gone like 3 times.
Did you say your crowd? Oh no. So
My gang.
your gang or your gang. Let's give you the Gen Z style.
Okay.
So as we wrap up, what advice do you have for young couples?
You said the main thing at the beginning of your intro. Wedding is only a day. You can take as long as that to plan it, but it's just one event. Marriage is a marathon. By the time you finish that wedding and get up, talk of the town wedding, as soon as you finish, people come and eat their jollof rice, dance the way their shebi and do all the dancing. As soon as they go, they are forgotten your own. They are looking at the next, who is the next row. Talk of the town, they can't talk about it beyond next 1 week and it's all over. Nobody remembers how you married. I have a friend, I won't call his name, but he ended up working with a minister, very cerebral guy. His own wedding was simple. He's a journalist, his wife a journalist. They were at work. They only did, after they introduced them, their parents, on the day when this one came from her office wearing kembe, that's a Kampala nika, 3/4 nika and top. My guy came from his office wearing shirt and trouser, short sleeve. And they ended up, they met at the registry in Lagos. Everybody signed, just took photograph, and everybody went back to work. You understand? That marriage is blessed today. It's still, so the thing is that we struggle, people even borrow to do wedding, to have a great show, do some destination wedding and all that. Come on. Keep the money, you will need it to fund your marriage.
All right.
And then parents should not be seeing themselves as, you are not the one wedding, it's your child, your children that are wedding. But parents will use it as an opportunity to show up, to call friends, to come and display and all that. Sometimes we see the mother of the bride dressing flashier than even the bride herself and all those kind of things. That is not okay, yes, it's a part of our societies. We show up, we can do all those little things. But please, wedding is just for, and it's just an event. The marriage is a long, lifelong thing. Let's do us part.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us in the studio.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
All right. So that does it for us.
And your own root is not rootless. Just roots.
Thank you for what I want to call it at this point, the word of wisdom, because you have spoken well, and I hope we all listened, because there's nothing as good as having a sweet marriage. I mean, everybody wants to close from work and go back home to a same house, not to a shouting house, irrespective of who is going to be the shouting partner. So
we have a division of labor. I do struggle to get the money. I give it to my wife to do the spending. Division
of labor. So this is a good way to wrap up this episode, and again this quarter. So do not forget that we are going to come back next quarter with a lot of exciting topics. Remember, we've treated a lot of topics, and the next quarter will also bring more topics. It breaks my heart, but hey, I can't help but to say goodbye, and I will see you next time. Don't forget, you can still keep tabs with all of our juicy content from The Wedding Show across all our social media platforms at The Wedding Show. My name is Ruth Agbejule, and I'm signing out. Bye-bye.